political imagination cannot imagine an America that provides for working people. And that's not our fault, it's theirs. Because there is more than enough. And frankly, just because someone else cannot imagine a political system that's not run by billionaires doesn't mean we shouldn't have a political system that's run by working people. It's funny to me when we talk about a Green New Deal and people say, this is too ambitious, this is too big. It's almost as though they can't imagine us valuing anything else more in our budget than war. It's that they can't imagine an America that values education as much as it values war, that values saving our planet as much as it values war, that it's almost as though folks can't imagine a country that believes that saving our planet is more valuable than a Wall Street bank bailout. Because we paid for that just fine. I think about some of our largest expenditures as a government and as a country, and they happened with the snap of a finger. You ever notice that? $2.1 trillion tax cut for billionaires and corporations happened like that, overnight. Wasn't that hard, was it? A multi-billion-dollar bank bailout to help reward the CEOs that took our homes away happened like that. That happened like that. So why is it that we need to wait 3 generations to guarantee health care to all Americans? Why is it that we have to be told that we need to wait until it's too late to act on climate change? And so we're being had. We're being had because all of this gaslighting in our political system is not true. But I want people to realize how important this moment is right now. When I was first running for office, and I was, I kept a Trader Joe's bag. I put all of my canvassing materials in there. I put my clipboards and my little postcards that I had made, and I would tuck it behind the bar, and I'd work my shift, and then I'd grab my bag, change out of my clothes, and take a train out to Queens and do house parties with people and talk to people, 5 people at a time. And it was crazy. Only like a mad person would do this. Like, I don't know why, what overcame me. But, and I would go 5 people at a time to living rooms for months. And I go to a living room and there'd be 5 people in that living room, and I'd be telling them that actually we can unseat one of the most powerful members of the Democratic Party from our home. And people said, you were crazy. And I said, it's not crazy for us to fight for ourselves and stand up for ourselves. So people have been telling us that we're nuts forever, and we have been accomplishing the impossible for a long time. This movement has been accomplishing the impossible the whole time. Because in this last century, we've electrified this country, literally. We have to think about things like the Tennessee Valley Authority. And we go dig back. And when people try to accuse us of going too far left, we're not pushing the party left. We are bringing the party home. It's time that we become the party of FDR again. It's time for us to become the party of the Civil Rights Act again. It's time for us to become the party that fights for queer liberation again. An anti-war party, a party that establishes peace and prosperity. That's the party I want to be again, and I want to go back home. That's what I want to do. And in order for us to go back home, we cannot go back home alone. We have to go back home together. That means we need to go back home with feminists, That means we have to go back home with the labor movement. That means we have to go back home with Black Lives Matter, go back home with the immigration movement. That means we have to go back home with the fight for 15. That means we have to go back home. That's how we go back home. Solidarity means you fight for someone you don't know. That solidarity means you bring someone with you to caucus. But what I mean by that is not just literally, but figuratively. Because I want you to vote, and I want you to caucus for someone you don't know. That's what that means. It means that when you walk in that night, you're gonna fight for a community that you haven't fought for before. That means all of us have to grow. That means all of us are in the pursuit of self-development. Because we need to understand our interconnected struggle. I was on my way here to Iowa, and I was reading a lot about climate change. Soybean yields are set to cut 25% by 2050 if we don't do anything about this. Maize as well. Sea rises out in coastal cities are set to threaten every major coastal city by 2050 in some way, shape, or form. Internet servers are on our coasts. And when those sea levels rise, it's going to create systemic failures if we do nothing. So tell me what costs more, doing something about it or not doing something about it? And with that, we have to realize that this country we have, the way things are today, is a choice. We choose to live like this. Our systems, our political leadership, etc., we have chosen in the richest country in the world to allow people to die because they can't afford insulin. That's not an accident. That is a choice of policy and of structure. And we don't have to choose that anymore. But I need us to remember, we have to remember that this is not a show. This is not something that we watch. This is not something that we watch on television. We don't watch the polls. We don't observe a political race. We gotta be in it. We change the polls. We don't watch the polls, we change the polls. We bring people with us to caucus. And we talk to people who have never been engaged or involved before. In my race, we won because we expanded the electorate 68% over the last off-year midterm election. That's the work that we have to do. And that's the kind of stuff that people say is impossible. But when you fight for someone that you don't know, you can accomplish, and we can accomplish the impossible. So we need to stitch this together. And let me tell you, it's working. There wouldn't be 2,000 people in here tonight if it wasn't working. But our future is not something that is guaranteed to us. Our future is not guaranteed to us. The quality of our future is not guaranteed to us. It's something in this moment that we have to fight for. And we're not gonna get a shot like this again. Not at this time, not in this way. So we need to go for it all. We need to go for it all, because 10% better is not much better at all. And so with that, I want to introduce to you my friend,